G'day guys and gal. One of the biggest moments in recent 40k lore was the duel between Lion and the Angron at the climax of the Arks of Omen event. It was an epic Primarch vs Primarch duel. It announced the Lion's presence to the galaxy and it resulted in a pretty cool ending, where both Chaos and the Imperium experienced their taste of victory and defeat. But how did we get here? How did the Lion end up with his Legion on a dark twisted version of Caliban throwing hands with Angron, and what was the result of that fight? After all, at a glance you'd think that old man Lion wouldn't have much of a shot against Angron at the moment. Before we get started, this Sunday I'm giving away a custom handmade Lion vs Angron Arks of Omen diorama featuring over 25 miniatures including a World Eater's army, a Dark Angel army, and of course the Lion and Angron. All miniatures have been painted with love, with Angron and the Lion being commissioned by a professional. The coolest part is that each model is magnetized, so you can remove them from the diorama, put them on a base, use them in a tabletop game, and then put them back on the diorama. We made the diorama extremely lore friendly, even going as far as to paint chapter masters and chapter champions from other Dark Angel successor chapters who were present during the battle, and the diorama also lights up. It's awesome. But how do you actually win the diorama? Well, you need to be a member of my new platform, Dice Dioramas. There are 6 tiers to choose from. All tiers get access to partner discount codes, such as 20% off Geology and Manscaped, 10% off Major Minis, 15% off Green Stuff World products via King Daka, and many more. This means that if you get the bronze membership, you can literally pay off your membership and make a profit if you spend $100 or so in a single month across all these different brands. Like looking at my Major Mini sales dashboard, 10 of the last 17 orders would have completely covered their bronze Dice Dioramas membership if they had signed up to Dice and used the Major Mini discount code. Members also get access to a private Discord server where we'll be hosting private miniature painting workshops hosted by pro painters, competitions, and so on. The benefit to choosing a membership above bronze is that you get more entries into the main monthly diorama giveaway, which for this month is the Lion vs Angron. However, we will be making a diorama every month, with next month's diorama being Rylanor's Last Stand. We really try to make Dice something special, so if you're unsure and it sounds confusing, I'd love for you to at least give it a chance for 1 month at the $10 bronze membership. You'll be started with how much value there is and how good of a community we're building. Plus, you could quite literally take home the Lion vs Angron diorama. We've already given away a 1/6 Titus statue, a knight, and multiple 1/12 scale Raven Lords, and in the next 48 hours, we'll be giving away a Lion miniature to one of our members. So click the link below to join now and give us a shot. Today we'll go over the lore regarding the Lion vs Angron, what the setup was, how the duel went, and what the aftermath entailed. Let's get into it. Chaos is always looking for some cheeky bullshit hacks to get ahead. As stated many times, the raw power of Chaos is nothing compared to what it once was. It can never again muster the forces or unity that Horus had when he was able to directly challenge Terra. The traders lost most of their Space Marines, most of their unity, most of their resources, and are now scattered into various different warbands with different goals. As such, Abaddon's strategy is to nibble away at the Imperium over time so that by the time he reaches Terra, it's more of a victory parade than an actual siege. To do this, he is always looking for the next big trick or super weapon to give himself the edge. With that in mind, Abaddon's recent campaign was to team up with Vashtor, the mechanical hentai overlord of the Forge of Souls, in order to try piece together a fragmented key that could open a secret lock, which would grant them access to a secret door with untold power. The key fragments were scattered throughout the galaxy, disguised as various different powerful relics. Hence, with Vashtor's help, Abaddon retrieved numerous space hulks from the warp and converted them into gigantic Chaos battleships. These were to be his Arks of Omen. He then gave these Arks to various different Chaos warlords and said, if you get me a key fragment, you can keep the ship, with many warlords agreeing. To be safe, Abaddon assigned a Terminator bodyguard to each warlord, who had orders to kill the warlord if they tried to keep the fragment for themselves or didn't uphold their end of the bargain. Some Arks succeeded, some failed and were destroyed. However, not every fragment was required, so the idea of some failure was acceptable. One of the most important fragments was the T'Cholcha engine, a strange Xeno device that was like a sentient super warp drive / navigator. It could navigate the warp extremely easily and was recovered by the Lion during the Horus Heresy. It agreed to serve the Lion and the Dark Angels as it found the Lion interesting and worthy of its talents. It has since remained in the Rock, the mobile mega capital ship of the Dark Angels, and continues to serve the Lion's sons. Vashtor wanted to personally retrieve the T'Cholcha engine, so he led an invasion of the Rock. It was going poorly for the Dark Angels until Be'lakor arrived and ganked the shit out of Vashtor, as they were rivals. Both demons wished to ascend to become the 5th Chaos God, and they knew that if one of them did, the other never would. Hence Vashtor was forced to retreat without his prize. However, he wasn't done yet. The Dark Angels were outraged at such an attack. so Azrael called together as many Dark Angel successor chapters as he could, and he reformed the Dark Angels into near Legion strength. They then went forward to challenge Vashtor. Vashtor had actually managed to reform the broken pieces of Caliban into a demon world called Wormwood. This was obviously a massive insult to the Dark Angels, who took the bait and sieged the world in massive numbers. It was likely also a ploy to prevent the Dark Angels from just exterminating the shit out of the planet, as blowing up Caliban twice isn't on Azrael's list of idealio ideas. The Dark Angels attack in full force, however Vashtor unleashes his trap, the World Eater Legion led by their Primarch. The Dark Angels are getting clobbered. In their rage they had entered a battle that favoured the enemy. Even the arrival of the Blood Angels, led by Dante, wasn't enough to turn the tide as Angron continued his rampage, slaughtering Dark Angels, Blood Angels, and even wounding the shit out of Dante himself. Shit was fucked. However, the Blood Angels had not come alone. The Lion, with a small army of Risen, came with them. The Lion used his new Forest Walk ability, which is basically like taking a stroll through a shortcut in the warp, to arrive on the planet undetected. Just before Dante could be finished off, the Lion appeared and faced off against his brother Angron, while ordering the Dark Angels to fall back. Angron was momentarily stunned to see his brother, however his brain nails and rage quickly overwhelmed the hesitation and he charged. Now Angron was significantly more powerful than the Lion in terms of raw strength and durability. However, the Lion was well suited to fight Angron. He had a lot of experience fighting demons and gigantic warp corrupted beasts. He'd also had a lot of finesse and patience. As they dueled, the Lion relied on parries and blocks while Angron just tried to lay into him. The Emperor's shield, a gift from his father, absorbed damage and reflected it back upon his enemy. Hence, whenever the Lion was able to get in a good block, the force of Angron's blow would knock back into him, leaving him open for the Lion to counterattack with either his sword fealty or a shield bash. However, it wasn't a one-sided fight. Angron's raw ferocity overwhelmed the Lion on numerous occasions, forcing him to retreat and regather himself. In one instance, his guard was broken and Angron front kicked him so hard he went flying through a wall and his breastplate was cracked. At one point, Angron just started hurling tanks at the Lion after the Lion wounded him via a particularly good block reflect. One of the tanks hits the Lion and smashes him down. However, he recovers quickly and counter-strikes Angron hard, wounding and enraging his brother further. The Lion actively wanted to stroke Angron's rage as it would reduce his battle sense and lure him into a blind frontal assault that the Lion could counter. It's made very clear that without the Lion's shield, the Lion would be fucked, as it was the only thing that could equalize Angron's massive strength advantage. After more fighting, in which the Lion remained on the defensive, Angron's rage had reached its limit and the Lion entered the endgame. He summoned forth the Mists of Caliban, part of his Forest Walk ability, and obscured himself. Angron, now without a visible foe, got even more pissed, especially as the Lion started materializing in the mist to strike at Angron before vanishing again and then striking again. Angron was something beyond furious. Eventually, the Lion banished the mist and stood before Angron. Angron charged at his brother, going for a killing decapitation strike. However, in his rage, he left himself completely open. He thought his brother would try block again, but instead the Lion drove his sword forward and punctured Angron's throat. The Primarchs crashed into each other and rolled around, but Angron was not doing so hot, with a sword in his throat and whatnot. The Lion wasted no time, knowing that Angron would heal quickly. He leapt on top of his fallen brother and with a mighty roar befitting his name, he smashed the Emperor's shield down upon his brother's skull, shattering it and causing Angron to explode as he was banished. The Lion himself wasn't feeling superb. He was limping, had dozens of wounds in his cracked armor, and he felt like shit. However, Angron was banished for now. It was time to retreat and reunite with his legion. As for Vashtor, the whole battle was just a ruse. As he lured the Dark Angels and Blood Angels to die, he traveled to the rock and he convinced the T'Cholcha engine to come with him and fulfill its destiny. The engine agreed and went with Vashtor, completing the key. Abaddon and Vashtor were both surprised and disturbed to learn of the Lion's return. However, they did have their key and could now move on to the next stage of their plan, finding the lock. The Lion reunited with his legion and decreed that the persecution of the fallen angels had changed. He was still happy for the fallen to be tracked down. However, if they were found to be free of corruption, he would personally speak with them and then try to recruit them to become inner circle companions. If they were corrupted, then only death awaited them. Since returning, he has led his angels into many battles, including battles against the Tyranids. It doesn't seem like Gilliman is aware of the Lion's return yet, since they're on opposite sides of the galaxy. However, that will be one hell of a reunion. Angron won't take long to return to the setting, as Khorne is empowered and can bring him back significantly faster than normal, demons, and so far we haven't seen Abaddon or Vashtor reach the lock, although that isn't far off. The Dark Angels themselves are in a very strong position. They have both the Invincible Reason and the Rock as their capital ships, are mostly reformed into a legion, Legion are no longer giving themselves retardation by relentlessly chasing the Fallen and are gaining many new experienced recruits via the Fallen joining their ranks. The line is kind of spooking Azrael and the other Dark Angel commanders, however it's a small price to pay for having their Primarch back. So far, we are yet to see the reunion of Cypher and the Lion, with many people predicting Cypher to be Corswain, the Lion's most favoured son. Nor have we seen any indication of Luther and the Lion's reunion. However, based on newer Luther lore, it seems Luther wishes to reconcile with the Lion, not fight him. If so, that would bring the rest of the uncorrupted Fallen to the Lion's banner and make him the single most powerful warlord in the galaxy. Spicy times, ladies and gentlemen, spicy times. If you enjoyed the video and you want to support the channel, then join Dice Dioramas. We're giving away the Lion vs Angron Diorama this Sunday to one of our members, on top of a ton of other rewards and value, as well as the Lion model giveaway happening in 48 hours. Hit the subscribe button and hit the real subscribe button for more Lionel content. Join the Discord for more memes and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.